find out.
One thing that I think goes a little bit more in the Legion's favor here is that this is a map that is better for Winston, where you don't feel as necessary to run Ryan at all times. Verticality is his friend, and any map where the Legion get to run Panker on Winston is generally better for them than Ryan maps where, I mean, Panker is solid on Ryan, but today I would actually argue that it's been a pretty rough day for him on the characters, so getting back to his comfort zone here in Winston, probably a good thing.
The majority of the Ryan we saw was definitely, what, on Li Jiang, where on Garden, he tried to go up against Decod, but Decod was besting him for the most part. I mean, on that point alone, Decod ended up getting about 5 or 6 Earth Shatters. But here, yeah, they are going to run, of course, that very mobile composition with the double snipers. So you got the Diva along with the Winston, while Corey and Blase are just going to try and pull apart LNL from every direction with the double snipers, as they're going to have very nearly the same composition, but it's going to be sugar-free on the Brigitte instead of running the double sniper.
Yeah, and I mean, unsung heroes here too for LNL. It's been Enlair, where even though he has been lighting up the kill feed, he's been stopping Corey from doing the same. The difference that we see in Corey when Enlair is gone versus when Enlair is still alive is massive here so far. But now, LNL, they're not really going to wait too much in going in. They immediately hop onto the point, powered by that Brigitte, and they force the Legion back. They almost kill Panker immediately. Blase's out, Panker's out, and LNL immediately evicting Legion from their very own point. When you lose 3 people that decisively, you're probably not coming back.
I think I'm starting to understand what like the mindset is for LNL, and it has been just try and shut down Panker. I mean, that's the main job of Sugar Free, especially on the Brigitte here. Panker jumps in, and then you have all the control in the world. You've got the shift along with the shield bash used by the Brigitte just to make sure that the Winston can't get away. You have to remember that if a Winston tries to leap, you can use your shift to change his trajectory, and so Panker doesn't have his escape button to really use once he gets inside.
All right, LNL, they're going to invest in Rally. They're going to go directly onto the point, trying to make use of the momentum that they've had to begin with. Meanwhile, Enlair looking for Corey on the other side, laying in damage on the Widow from the left. And the Legion, they're going to give up a tick for free. They're not contesting directly on the point. God's almost taken out of his mech, and the Primal Rage comes in. And I think the Legion, they're trying to withstand the ultimates being used here, but they lose Corey. Decod making his name known in the backline. Gonna pick up a second, and it's from Decod in the disruption that LNL now is on the point. 2 ticks there. Is it going to be 3? They're super, super close. They get rid of Panker. They see a little bit more, and they could have a 6-minute time bank here. This is ridiculous, and it looks like they're gonna get it.
I think this is what the young kids call shook. Right now, the Legion look absolutely shooketh by LNL. They are absolutely dominating them, and a lot of it is off the control of Panker. There was a point where on point B of Volskaya, Panker was dropped down to about 10 HP, and he was trying his best to just reconnect with Pooks and Rolf. We haven't seen this kind of disjointed play coming out from Legion since, well, Season 1. It looked like in the last 2 weeks they had it all down, but now LNL seem to have really figured out how to handle and deal with the Legion.
Well, again, it's a twofold process here where, one, Panker's getting focused immediately in any team fight, so he can't win these fights for the Legion. It's up to other people to do so. And normally that's where, okay, you're focusing so much on Panker that means Corey and Blase are going to get to do whatever they want to do. Corey has been getting checked by Enlair this entire time, so the Legion have to look to Blase, Gods, Rolf, and Pooks to carry a lot of the weight here, and it hasn't been quite as good for Blase on the other end. And even though Gods has had good moments, it's not enough to compensate for essentially Panker and Corey getting removed from these fights.
Now, what do you do as the Legion try to change things up? Right now, for the offense, it looks like they might go for something a little bit wonky. Corey on the Tracer, Blase on the Soldier 76. We don't really see often an offensive Soldier 76 here on point A. I mean, we used to back when both teams would run the Reinhardts, and then you'd have, like, of course, like the face-off on the opposite high grounds. Soldier 76 has definitely fallen out of favor here, but this has been one of their kind of strategies to go to, where they go for either Corey or Blase with the Soldier 76 and try to catch someone out with the tempo that you can use. Instead, there we go. He's going to go ahead and swap off on to the Hanzo, which makes a bit more sense.
I will say it does worry me. Look at the Legion swapping this much in the very beginning, because you should know what you're going to run. The fact that they're debating these opening strategies as much as they seem to be from our end is not a good sign. Regardless, they're going to open up here with the Hanzo, and Corey, he's going to be on a backline mission looking for Enlair, and he's deciding he wants to do the Tracer v Widow as opposed to Widow v Widow.
Double sniper, so he does have to worry about either Enlair or Sugar Free just getting that one shot onto him. Blase gets taken off from the high ground here, but Blase was able to try and keep Enlair in check. Now both snipers have been dropped low. There's an opportunity for Legion to come on in.
Legion moving their way in. Look at LNL, they're so weak across the board, but Sugar Free got Rolf. He was low, fights his way out of danger. Rolf, though, will get brought back up. Sugar Free to continue backing up, but Panker's down! While the Legion were trying to reset up and solidify their edge, LNL is able to fully heal back up, and with Panker down, that's it for the push. You have to wait for Panker, and Gods is lucky not to get demeched.
Yeah, he's taking the headshots coming out from Enlair. Both snipers now almost got their ultimates. Enlair at 76% towards that infra site. Very useful, especially on the defense, to try and slow down the offense from coming on in. Now, the Legion, they really are going to try and rely upon Blase. He's going to throw out that Dragon Strike early.
Meanwhile, Sugar Free has the right turn zone. Got Corey on the flip side. Just a lightly touched-in arrow is more than enough. Drops a Dragon Strike to make some room, and Panker focused down immediately. Because here's the problem. Now that Corey's on Widow, Enlair has even more room to look for headshots on the Panker, and it's been a bad day for Panker.
Again, it's that problem where you try to just run a solo sniper up against double snipers. Well, we got to see how strong that is, especially on a map like Junkertown, where you're able to just really spread out your threats and make it very difficult for anyone to try and even step forward, because they have to check every single angle as they make their approach. Now the Legion, this is looking very worrying, just like Eichenwald point A. They need to make something happen here. They're slowly coming up with ultimates. Corey's in the back line. Pulse Bomb is missed.
He is tilted right now. His tracking is all over the place. He wasn't able to land the Pulse Bomb. He just wants Enlair dead, and Enlair says, nah, I'm good. Self-destruct, though, in from Gods. Sets the stage. 2 down already for LNL as the Legion have their best opening they've had all map long. Gods gonna be casing Winston as he leaps all the way around, but Sugar Free's back in it. Grabs Panker. Now it's all up to Gods to be the front line, and he's very focusable here, and LNL might actually be able to restabilize.
Gods goes into the high ground just to try and contest for a little bit, but that's going to be free ultimate charge going over to Sugar Free. Both Blase and Sugar Free use their dragons pretty quickly. Oh, Blase is able to punish the peak.
Confirm the kill. Look at that. Ajax was going for the res, but saw the Hanzo there, thought better of it. The dragon comes out the other side. And the Legion, after getting pummeled, after struggling so mightily, now might be getting first. But even if they get this here, Jamerson, they're going to be way behind the time, and they don't have it here yet. Gods fell on the other side. LNL's coming right on back. Dogman getting real close to a transcendence as the fight continues. And now we look towards Corey. Pulse Bomb out, lays it in, doesn't connect. Dogman, though, fell. There's not going to be that victory transcendence. Both supports are out, and Legion do get their attempt now on the point B.
Yeah, despite this win on point A, though, they're not really going to be able to snowball into point B the same way that LNL did. That's why LNL were able to take the entire map in a minute 54. Now the Legion are already almost 2 minutes behind the pace set by LNL. And so now they've got a lot of work cut out for them. They need to make up for a lot of lost time. Ready? Legion. Ooh. We have Corey trying to lurk into the backline. He knows that generally there's a Zenyatta or Widowmaker back here, but no one positioned quite yet. He hasn't been spotted out, though.
I'm not sure he knows about the Brigitte swap. He just might get a shield to the face and go, wait, that's not Widowmaker, it's not Widowmaker at all. But early transcend from Dogman. LNL caught a little bit off guard. That's very good for the Legion as they set up here. They can wait out the Transcendence. They have everyone up. Now they drop the Dragon. It's Wase leaving that in from the back. Lets the Legion move in and set up pretty well here. And then they get Ajax. Panker finally able to get someone in the back line. Primal Rages before falling. And now the Legion working with a very good 6-on-5. The LNL thrown to the wayside in the back. The disruption so far has been effective. And the Legion looking much better here on point B so far.
That's huge. Next, he tried to go for the self-destruct, try to get the remech, but he was not able to as Enlair comes in for the stall. It's Rolf cleaning up 3 now, and LNL, even though they had a great point A defense, they are crumbling here on point B as Legion are on the verge of finishing off this map.
Much better for the Legion. One early pick in a solid finish, but they are still going to be working with an incredible disadvantage on the time bank side. 3 minutes, which means that essentially their road to equalizing this year is getting a much quicker point A attack, and then probably they do need to get point B again, because with 6 minutes, I think that if they don't get at least 4 points on the board, LNL is probably going to take it.
One of the big things in that last fight, we didn't really get to touch upon it because it was off screen. We did get to see Corey go into the back line and eventually Dogman try to hunt him down. Now that was actually pretty key in that last fight because Dogman essentially took himself out of that fight, and without being able to get over to Ajax, who was the next person to get focused down as Panker jumped on top of him, Ajax, without the heals coming out from him, wasn't able to survive. And then from there, everything just kind of, you know, snowballed out of control for LNL's defense. And so Dogman does have to be wary about that, that if Panker goes unchecked, he will be able to get a key pick like the one he did onto the Mercy.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Panker is known for, but the problem is he hasn't had the ability to freelance into the backline the way he normally does because he's been public enemy #1. He can barely stay alive in the normal front line, let alone going off on crazy adventures chasing after supports. But obviously, as we saw there, when Panker is able to chase down a Mercy early on, it's a completely different fight.
Now, we don't have change coming out quite yet. Blase, will he stick to the Soldier 76? No, last time he did there we go, went for that Hanzo. But this was the composition that took quite a while to really take off. Instead, Corey goes over this to the Tracer here, so we'll see if he can get into the back line and create that same kind of disruption that Legion need.
Yeah, I mean, he was on the Tracer before and had some trouble, but bear in mind, Legion started out last time pretty well. They had LNL super low. They just weren't able to finish any kills. So it very well could have been a different story with things going just slightly different. But now, Corey going for his kryptonite here in the back, chasing after Enlair. Enlair gonna be able to get to the indoors. Corey says, I've had enough. But this time it's a different story, where Panker's still very alive, Decod is down, and the front line for the Legion has found a much better opening here so far. And with Ajax out of the fight, no one's coming back up. It's a quick take for the Legion. Yeah,
that time around, Corey was able to take a different route to get into the back line. Last time, I believe, the first time he tried to make his approach onto point A, he went in from the left and the Widowmaker wasn't there. This time around, he was right on top of Enlair, so Enlair wasn't able to dish out the same kind of damage onto Panker. You know, you hit that headshot onto the Winston, all of a sudden he's already down to about half HP, and he's instantly regretting his decision of jumping on in. This time was not the case. Enlair will go ahead and swap off, go over to the Brigitte.
And of course, the Brigitte here is trying to keep Corey a little bit more in check, but Corey was very good at avoiding it last time. That was when he didn't even know it was a thing, but talk about breathing room. Blase goes down. There's no more mulligans for the Legion. But the Legion, they're still going to be pretty aggressive in going here. They're going to open with the Dragon Strike, but here's the difference, is that you look at Sugar Free, he has a Dragon of his own. Oh, no, he doesn't! Take it on down, Blase! An early Dragon Strike sets the stage, preventing one from the other end, and the Legion off of that Dragon. Now moving on to the point, the Dragon from Sugar Free blind, doesn't get what he's looking for, and the Legion just need a little bit more, and they will give themselves life in the series. They could be 4 points with time left remaining.
And this is how quickly the tides of fortune change here in Overwatch, especially on Volskaya, where one good snowball can completely change the momentum of the battle. Dogman tries his best to get onto the point with that Transcendence, but Panker is there to be able to bat him away. And so, even though it took them almost 6 minutes, 5 minutes to try and cap point B the first time around, this time, there's almost no defense coming out from LNL, and now it's going to be LNL on the back foot.
Yeah, and I mean, you take a look at how Volskaya games generally break down, you can make a good argument here that the Legion actually have the advantage where, okay, sure, if LNL is able to come in and do 2 minutes, they would technically be ahead, but that is the rarity, right? You usually don't get through that quick, even if you have a very good attack round. So it is more likely than not that LNL, even if they do get 4 points, they will have less time remaining than the Legion here. So the Legion, they've pulled themselves out of the fire. It was looking real bad at the beginning, especially after their very first attack, but their second attack has righted all wrongs.
Yeah, and especially after the pace that LNL set, right? You kind of do lose some of your morale when you give up point A and B in less than 2 minutes. But the Legion, they're able to fight back, and they understood that, you know, anything can happen here on Volskaya, especially when you come up with some huge picks. Blase coming in clutch with that Dragon as they move on to point B. So LNL We'll see if they make any swap-offs coming into this next offense. I honestly don't remember what they ran on their initial offense because it's been about 6 minutes. Legion were running that.
One interesting thing here is that Corey's back on the Widow, but the biggest change for the Legion is that Panker's been staying alive. He's made adjustments, he's doing better, but I am curious to see if Corey can get his confidence back versus Enlair.
Right, so Enlair is going to be on the Widowmaker. There's no double sniper to really try and contest it. Sugar Free is going to go over to the Brigitte. Blase starts it all off. Dogman is the first one to go down. Ajax will be able to res him up, but that is the res gone. That's 30 seconds where they cannot get picked off.
And the big part there, that means that if Corey's able to get Enlair or something, he doesn't have to worry about. But instead, it's Pooks falling the other end. Well, now neither side has a res, but one side still has a mercy. As LNL, off of that pickoff from Enlair, get to work their way forward. Enlair still intimidating Corey, but Corey on the other side gets Sugar Free. Now it's 5-on-5. A little bit more even, but down to Mercy is still a rough place to be. Panker takes matters into his own hands, chases down Enlair, 3 HP, but he gets a, well, doesn't fully get away. Corey finishes the plate, and it's enough for the Legion to end up holding here.
Yeah, you know, it's about making the adjustments. We talked about it, right? LNL looks like the game plan was to honestly try and shut down Panker, but then Panker kind of understood what the game plan of LNL was. So now he is playing a little bit more passive. He waits until Sugar Free is gone or not around the area where he wants to try and engage. And so Panker has been a lot more successful this time around. And now the Legion really slowing the momentum of LNL. They're going to go ahead and use that infrasight to slow them down even further.
It sets up Blase's Dragon. Blase, it's too late. He's seen everything. He can get a perfect Dragon here. Gonna let it fly. Immediately eats Ajax right up. The perfect pick immediately. Set up by that infrasight from Corey, and LNL, they immediately have to back out. They can't deal with it down to Mercy that early.
Coming into this next fight, though, LNL are really about to just hit that real high point in the team fight where they're going to be able to rally, so Ajax and Dogman are, you know, of course, less vulnerable. And then they're going to be able to push forward with both support ultimates, but the Legion have the answers for themselves. We'll see. Panker, he's got the Primal Rage. That's a big question mark, but Corey starting it all off. Enlair's already gone.
Yeah, Enlair's out of it, and Panker, again, keeping his distance from Sugar Free. Instead, just rotating towards the other side. Blase gonna drop a Dragon, try and fish this out, and even though Gods might be down, the Legion get the Transcend back over. Blase looking for it on the other side. Oh, he's found Ajax. Ajax has to get out of there in a hurry, immediately shifts away, and actually sets up D-Cut to push Blase back a bit. Gods is fully gone, but Enlair has fallen. The Legion, though, still rather wounded here. They've lost more people. They're trying to find their way back in. And if Blase can't get another pickoff, that might be it here, as people are taking an awful long time to get back. And if Legion go in here, this could be real bad if they lose 3 or 4 leading into point B.
It's Blase of all people to jump on in. He instantly gets jumped on by Sugar Free, taken on out. And so LNL will be able to clean up the points. 30 extra seconds added on to their time now, and they are making a beeline straight for point B.
Legion just threw that real bad, where that is the risk for trying to go for that last-minute attack, and that was the worst-case scenario where everyone ends up falling. They're barely out of spawn before LNL is on their point. Panker is down immediately, and LNL is punishing the Legion for their hubris right now. They have the 6-on-5, they have the positioning, they have 2, nearly 3 ticks, and it's a desperation Transcend from Rolf, followed up by the Dragon by Blase, but Dogman answers in turn, a Transcendence of his own. Ajax is in the air, Rolf is on the ground, and Enlair just needs a little bit more. Blase, you're trying your hardest, but there's very little for these arrows to go right now. LNL's getting everything they want and more. We're gonna be heading to more rounds here, Jamerson.
Legion just losing all the discipline that we got to see throughout the last 2 weeks now. And there are so many things going wrong for the Legion. It's hard to just try and harp onto one, but one really huge mistake is that a lot of the times the DPS from the opposite side go completely invisible to them. We saw an Eichenwald, Sugar Free, when he was on that Pharah. No one was doing anything about him. Enlair, when he was on that Tracer, was able to just stay in the backline continually, and there was nothing they could do about him whatsoever. He was transitioning from target after target, able to destroy them with that Tracer. And so now, we thought, you know, tides might change here. LNL might lose their momentum. They're carrying it forward. They've got a 1 and 10-second advantage up against the Legion.
Well, the thing that I tend to harp on a lot, and for good reason, is that you have to know your win conditions. And what is it worth there? The chances of getting back in and successfully defending point A were so slim relative to the possibility of what happening just happened. Whereas if the Legion had just held back and said, okay, point A is gone, they could have had a defense back, that could have drawn a lot more time off the clock. It could have given them a time advantage, but they got greedy, pure and simple. They did not need to go for that fight, especially given the poor positioning they were going to have in it. They were in the edge for the overall map, given where the time was, but instead, they feed to LNL. They give LNL the easiest point B attack ever by letting them get to point B before they're even out of spawn, and they pay the price.
Yeah, and speaking of poor positioning, Panker, right, when LNL were making their transition over to point B, he was on point B by himself, still waiting for his team. You saw him having to actually jump on out, but it was Endlayer able to follow up with some initial poke damage coming out from Sugar Free. And then, of course, the Discord orb coming out from the Zenyatta. So Panker does have to learn again how to play up against this LNL squad.
Well, he took a headshot immediately, which slowed down the opening for the Legion. Now you see Corey going to the back, trying to deal with, again, it's been his kryptonite all series long, goes for Endlayer, but Endlayer's well protected here, so while Corey is repositioning, LNL goes, wait, we don't have to worry about Tracer, we can go in and push the issue to the other side. And look, Panker just took one to the head again. He's getting focused so hard between the Hanzo and the Widowmaker here, but he's able to get healed back up. The Legion, they see some opportunities. Blase looking for Mercy on the other side, unable to connect. Corey on the ground, just struggling to find a way back into this fight. Getting close to a pulse bomb. Goes the other side, he's gonna get Endlayer. Almost one Clemson, takes him down, and now he's gonna camp the body. He's gonna make sure that Ajax doesn't come back in. Meanwhile, the Legion are flooding in from the front.
Now that's about his third attempt to actually go after Endlayer, and finally, you know, third time is a success for him. And so the Legion, they'll be able to clean this up very shortly. Decon trying his best to stall them out with that Primal Rage, but he might have been better suited holding on to that for the next fight. The Legion, they were able to build up 5 ultimates in the last minute and 40 seconds, so as they get 30 seconds, it's going to be a nice big push coming onto point B. Endlayer will swap off from the Widowmaker, going over to Brigitte, but it might just be too much power coming out from the Legion as they move on to point B.
Yeah, I mean, what they need here is Sugar Free to split them off with Dragon Strike. Now, he got picked off in the same situation before. It would be insane if Corey was able to do that here. I don't think it's going to happen, but what LNL needs is a Dragon to just disrupt this, but the Legion, they're going to sidestep it to the left. The Dragon does nothing, and now they have their condition that they want. The Transcendent used early by Dogman, no effect. Now they can come back in. They have a Transcendence of their own. Corey fishing for kills here in the bottom. Pulse bomb out, connects. Endlayer's out of it, and the Legion looking towards point 6 as we head into overtime.
Transcendence is used by Rolf as he just wants to double down, and why not? Overtime spawns are in effect. LNL, their staggers are getting punished one by one, and with that, the Legion will take point B for the 3rd time today.
Back and forth we go. I believe this is the biggest slugfest we have had here on Assault all season long, and it's been good to see, although I do think some of this has been very self-inflicted by the Legion. We'll see if they've learned a bit from their mistakes as they head to the defense for the final time.
Honestly, it looks like Corey's just slowly coming more alive on that Tracer. Before, you know, his tracking when he was trying to go for those 1 clips, it was so close, but he was always just off by minimal amounts. But now finally being able to break open point A for his team by getting on top of Endlayer there, covering the body like you had mentioned, and then forcing the Mercy to be in a very awkward position, right? She wants to try to go for the res, she wants to keep healing, but now she's just stuck in the sky. Ajax wasn't able to do anything at all with that Mercy on point A, and I believe he had also used his Valkyrie in that fight, so he just completely negated that, Corey did, on their offense. And
then you want to talk about momentum coming in from the offense there, where LNL had 2 things. They had the Transcendence and they had the Dragon Strike, where they let loose the Dragon Strike and it does nothing. The Legion were in the good position to just simply sidestep out of the way, so that doesn't do anything. Then, with pressure to the back, they force Dogman to transcend early in the fight, and they give such a good win condition to move on in with a Transcendence of their own and take full control of the point.
Things were looking dicey for the Legion, but now the shoe is on the other foot as LNL on the offense. They're just going to go full out dive. This is the kind of look that we see out from LNL when they understand that the pressure is up against them. They just go for the full dive here. They're not going to try it all with any of the snipers.
Nope, Sugar Free back to his bread and butter, and that is Genji, where he butters the bread and he cuts it up himself. Staying here on the left right now. Not building up too much in way of all charge, and almost gets fallen immediately. Taking some shots to the head under pressure. Meanwhile, it's Endlayer on Tracer himself this time as part of this full dive setup. Both ends out of the fight. Endlayer looking for the D-Mech on the Diva now. Gonna get it. Backs up the other way. Finishes his plate. And it's Endlayer on the Tracer making his presence out. He's not done just yet. He's looking for Mercy. Panker gonna save it, but probably too little too late here, as even though Panker is coming alive, respawns are gonna be coming back in for LNL, but Blase going back the other way. LNL's got a little bit too aggressive here. Panker's gonna finish off the Mercy, and Legion actually fight their way out, but for how long? It's still just 2 people.
Yeah, Dogman and Ajax trying to do their best. Jonak and Arc impression there, but sorry, they're kind of on a different level right now, guys. And now LNL a little bit behind, but we'll see. They don't commit to that. They just try to get maybe a cheeky third onto the point, but they don't want to overextend, so instantly Decod backs off. That buys the Legion enough time to get the full respawn here. They're gonna back away as Blase gets jumped off.
Yeah, he just wants space to drop a dragon. That's all. The dragon immediately takes step 2. Immediate, instant gratification there for he who summons the dragon, and Corey just gets to pity the baby diva in the back. But how the tables have turned. The Legion now with a 2-point lead. LNL down to their final minute and 8 seconds. They need this next push to be a good one, but the Legion are well stocked.
And the problem is, even if the next push is a good one, even if off the back of a sugar-free Dragon Blade, they're about to win out the fight, they only get 30 seconds. They're not going to have the same kind of snowball that the Legion did moving on to point B. So they need to be able to do this, and they need to be able to win out this fight without using ultimates, but that remains to be seen if they can.
Okay, well, Sugar-Free, he's been the hero so many times. You only want to look to him here. He has the blade up. He's looking for Corey in the back. Nice setup between him and Decon. 1 threat down. Blade still in reserve. They get Blase. This is really surgical for LNL here. They might not need to use the blade. So Sugar-Free playing on the margins, but nope, he decides to bring it out. He doesn't like the way the fight is breaking down. Gets 1, looking for more. To the back, grabs Panker, and LNL, they're gonna get that final attempt onto last.
They will get this attempt, but we saw Sugar-Free that entire time. He was weighing his options. Do I use my blade here, or do I try my best to hold on to it? But at some point, you just had to pull all the triggers. And so, in that clutch moment, they had to. And now they're not going to have that same opportunity that the Legion did moving on to point B. Another 30 seconds added onto LNL's clock. But now all they can really rely upon is next and end layer.
30 seconds and a dream. That's what we're working with here for LNL. And part of that dream is going to be dodging a dragon. Blase holding the dragon in the back, looking for a pickoff. Any pickoff to LNL right now would be devastating if Ajax was unable to res it. They're making most of their time right now. 7 seconds remaining. Now they engage. Meanwhile, the dragon comes out from Blase, straight down the gut. Doesn't get anything. Meanwhile, Rolf's out of the fight. LNL, 1 man up, looking pretty good here early on. Looking for the Diva. Diva drops a self-destruct to the other side. Doesn't connect, but Sugar-Free, he's gone if he can't be res, but he is! He's back into the fight. End layer continues, rolling around the outskirts. Got rid of Panker, looking for more. LNL fighting their way back on in. They have a huge man advantage. And have they done this? Have they set things to a tie? It's looking like they're gonna do it. Pooks ends up falling. The last one is down. Rolf is out of it. And LNL going to make this a tie in the very end. What a map. And no, actually, we're going to one more. We got an extra round. Okay.
Extra round here.
Why not?
And that is absolutely nuts. And, you know, honestly, things looked great for the defense coming out from Legion there. Decod jumps into the back line beyond that high ground, that platform that, of course, the Zenyatas and the Widowmakers and Hanzo's like to use. He jumps past it, and then we see Panker actually going in for a counter dive up against them, but they're not able to finish off that fight. Ajax is back there. He uses the Valkyrie to keep everyone alive. He's able to even get off the resurrection and bring his teammate back into this. I believe it was Sugar-Free who was caught out back there, who had fallen. And without being able to cover that, Sugar-Free gets back into the fight, is able to just put out the raw amount of damage that he could with the Genji, with the shield, with the dash resets, and fight this back from the brink. And so now we're going to extra innings between these two teams. Legion will be attacking first once again.
And now all bets are off, where both teams have hit each other with haymaker punches all the way through. At one point, LNL was looking poised to have an easy Volskaya. The Legion bring it back. The Legion throw a point. The Legion come on back. And now we are here 6-6 with the final minute allotted to each team.
Now, we do have some changes coming out. From the defense for LNL, they're just going to go ahead and run the GOATS composition. When in doubt, GOATS it out, and never mind. It looks like both teams, it's mirrored GOATS here, so we'll see how long this fight lasts.
Neither team is confident, both teams full of doubt. And that's why we are going to GOATS it out, as it turns out. So this is going to get real ugly in the point, and this is where Reinhardt's tend to get Earth Shatters in a matter of 2 seconds, but Pooks is down immediately. There's not going to be the ability to res him back in. Goats just aren't very good at resing their partners, and LNL gets the better of the Legion. The Legion, though, if they are quick, will get one more attempt at this point.
Well, you know, Bezawar only can heal status ailments, not death. And so now, it's coming down to this. The Legion, they were caught off guard by LNL's positioning. They had a cheeky flank there on the left-hand side, hiding that entire time. Blase will swap off. A lot of changes coming out from Legion. They're going to go ahead and forego everything.
Yep, why not go to the sky? Blase goes, yeah, I fire now. So Goats meets Goats, LNL is on top, but now Legion goes, we're gonna go to the sky. Lucio takes a rocket to the face, a nice mid-air. Ajax running for his life, takes another!
Oh
no! With the great rockets, leading to that early pickoff, but Corey's out of the fight already. LNL fighting back the other end. Pinker takes the raw end of a beam. Dogman built up after the first fight. And LNL, despite the early pickoff, find their way back into it. They don't even give up a third, and they are poised to take Volskaya away. They can get 33% on their next attack.
Things look so good. Ajax takes to the sky. He's worried about nothing at all. He didn't know about the Pharah swap-offs, and then all of a sudden he sees it and goes, yeah, I could do that. I could definitely take her out of the sky. But he gets taken out, and that would have been huge, right? Because at that point now, you're forcing Dogman, of course, who was on the Moira, to commit all of his healing onto the rest of his tanks. And once she runs out of the healing, she has to try and rebuild that up. There's a moment of vulnerability for LNL there that the Legion weren't able to take advantage of, where the tanks aren't getting healed up at all. You try to go after Sugar Free at that point. Instead, the Legion kind of just lost focus and weren't able to just take one person down. That's all they needed, just one more tank, just Sugar Free on the Brigitte to go down, and they might have gotten the point. But now it is within the grasp of LNL to try and take the lead in the series now up against the Legion.
On what has undoubtedly been one of the most ridiculous Volskayas we've seen in a very, very long time. I'd say most ridiculous assault rounds played in all of Contenders so far in North America for 2018.
LNL, you know, there were a lot of doubts about them. We always wondered, like, how are they going to perform? Sugar Free does well, but today it's Sugar Free and Enlayer really coming in clutch now for the team, and so they are giving the Legion a run for their money. But this isn't a look that we were expecting out of Legion ourselves. We were expecting them to come out much stronger, but now they are showing a lot of weaknesses, a lot of cracks in their gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, the Legion, they've been mortal, which has sort of been a recurring trend in teams where you think they're immortal and then they're not. But LNL taking a lot of time on this early attack. They're burning what could be used for a second go at it if this first run does not end successfully. Corey on the Widow in the back. Oh, had a chance to get Brigitte, just barely misses it. Meanwhile, LNL taking their time. Sugar Free, he's still alive, was down to like 10 HP and brought back from the brink. And now the focus fire goes the other way, but Dogman down. Both teams wounded. It's getting bloody here on the point, but Corey, well set up. Brings their infra sight back up the other way. He's Battle Widow, 40 HP, but backs on out. He's not punished. Looking for the headshots the other end. Pinker gone. God's gone. No front line for the Legion. And LNL close to taking it. And what has been a slugfest, it might be 7-6. Overtime ticking down. And it's going to be LNL taking this one away from the Legion.
Wow. Wow. LNL actually now taking the lead up against the Legion. We definitely did not expect that.
I think I aged like 80 years during that fight. That was incredible to watch. Like, I got so stressed and it just kept going, but LNL just outperformed Legion. They really fought hard. We didn't expect to see this.
No, and I mean, honestly, both teams had their highs and lows over the course of that, right? Where it felt like the momentum of who was actually favored changed like 4 times within the course of one map for various different reasons, but that was great. That was exciting to watch. I want more of that.
Right?
Although now I kind of want a halftime break, and that was technically, we just
that was just one
map
map
number 3, yeah. And one of the biggest issues there is that, like, honestly, it kind of did come down to a coin flip, even though there is an algorithm onto who attacks last there for the final attack, where both sides only have a minute, and it was just Gladiators Legion, which had that question mark. What is our win condition? We don't know. We have to go ahead and set the goalpost. And because they didn't do anything at all on point A, where they weren't able to capture anything, that made it that much easier for LNL to have a game plan, right? It wasn't ambiguous for them. It was, we just need to get onto the point. We need to be able to fight them, force them off the point. You saw at one point, Corey had to go Battle Widow because someone had to contest, and that puts him in a vulnerable spot. And so everything just worked out for LNL at the end there.
Also, if you think back to the final Legion attack, is that I don't think they were expecting goats there. I think it was kind of one of those things, it's like, it's an awkward moment when you go to a Halloween party and you think you have the most unique costume ever, and then you run into 3 other people wearing the same thing. Spoiler alert, don't run with My Hero Academia Halloween costume this year. It's not going to be good, just letting you know.
It's true, everyone's going to be wearing the exact same thing. And Enlayer's performance during the entire just saga was just kept improving.
Yeah, we were worried because he did look a little bit rusty. You know, his tracking wasn't on point. But when it came down to the clutch moments, he was the one, like most Tracers have in the last year, to really open up the points for his team. And it was clutch for him, especially being able to get onto the Widowmaker into the back on point A and just opening it up.
Right. And if we think back, you know, 8,000 years to round 1, I wrote down in my notes, poor Panker. What was going on with Panker? Like, it was just, it seemed like he just kept dying and just kept falling.
Yeah, I mean, it was part on him for not realizing what LNL's game plan was. But on the same note, kudos to LNL. They were focusing him heavily. And of course, it's Decon we're looking at here. But when looking at the Panker side of things, that Panker was getting headshot repeatedly from all ends, and his normal style where he gets into the back line and is a huge pest was frankly punished. He was barely able to stay alive in his own team's front line, and that was because LNL came with the game plan of, we're not going to let Panker punish us the way that he does every other team, and they were successful at it.
Yeah, it was very impressive to watch, and it seemed, as we saw, it was back and forth and back and forth. So one team would slip and stumble, one team would punish that. What do you think was the final blow, what really pushed LNL over the edge and secured them this win?
I think really you'd have to go back in the middle of the rounds where Legion had a really nice defense on point A, and they could have burned down another 3 minutes on point B, and then they sort of went for this suicide defense on point A where the risk reward was not in their favor at all. I think they could have choked out LNL if they just simply held back and went for a good point B defense. I think that shot call from the Legion was the tipping point to LNL being able to make this crazy comeback. It
was definitely a fine line to ride, but you don't go for that unless you have like a diva. Right? If you give it the point, at least have like a diva show up there and try to contest for as long as possible and allow everyone else to respawn, because if the diva goes down and she's the last one staggered, she still has her boosters to try and make it back to point B. You need to make sure that the rest of your team, beside the diva, are in position to try and defend. But we saw that when they were able to snowball in, it was Panker who was way too far up. He got caught out, he got discorded, and then he got chased down by the Tracer and he got completely melted. So there were a lot of decision-making errors coming out from the Legion throughout this entire map.
We also can't forget the very simpler answer, but sugar-free. But sugar-free, because sugar-free was just, I feel like every time the tides were turning, sugar-free just brought it out and brought it back.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to find anything negative to say about sugar-free because, frankly, he has been that good. And I know sometimes people are going like, you're hyping this guy up a lot. Is he really that good? Yeah, he is that good. He has been playing phenomenally well all night long, doesn't matter what he's been on, and he's the heart of this LNL team, pure and simple.
I hate that my first thought when you said there's nothing bad to say about sugar-free, I was like, well, he makes chocolate taste bad, but I've been waiting for a sugar-free joke all 3 weeks, just let me have that, all right? Don't shake your head at me, I thought that was pretty good. Aww.
Beyond sugar-free, though.
It's going to be like the background noise, and you just like sit there.
I mean, I was just ready to take it another way. I was ready just to take it another way. Like, yeah, sugar-free's great, but you know, it's like also like really good in life, dogs and Dogman.
Dogman, all right, yeah, there you go.
No, Dogman has been performing so far, you know, despite some moments where he does get caught out or like his decision-making kind of cost him up points. Luckily, enough mistakes are made that it covers his, right? But now we are going over to Gibraltar for this final deciding map, possibly if we go to map 5, if Legion could actually tie this up. I don't know right now. They are looking really shaky.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, normally Gibraltar would be their strongest map where you bring back Corey from week 1 where he was nothing but a god on Widowmaker, but he's been checked by Enlayer. all series long, Enlair has been a thorn in his side, so I don't know if this is going to go as well for the Legion, even though normally it'd be like, Legion, Gibraltar, lock it in, it's going to be a W.
And we say this all the time, it's not just composition, it's not just teamwork, it's also the team's mood, and if they weren't expecting to really fight LNL this hard, they could be tilted. Like, it could not work out well.
Well, I don't want to make assumptions what went on behind the scenes, but there have been parts where you look at the coaching coming in and sort of the weird lack of game plan. I mean, there is a world where you look at your schedule and be like, LNL, going to be an easier game, and clearly it's been anything but.
Right. So quick predictions before we head into some Overwatch?
Right now, I still think it can go either way between Legion and LNL, but LNL's game plan seems to be sugar-free on that Brigitte, so I'm expecting once they go onto defense, still play that Panker control style, and sugar-free goes over for that.
I think for me, as crazy as the series has been, even though it's easy to ride the momentum, I think that Legion still will have the edge. I think they could pull this back, but it's going to be a rough ride.
All right, well, will LNL take it all? Will we go to a map 5? Let's find out.
All right, to Gibraltar, where honestly, Volsky felt like an entire series in and of itself.
It honestly was. We had, what, 4 attacking rounds for each side? I think that equates to at least 2 maps, right? So at least half a map in and of itself.
Yeah, it was a long, long slog, but we're going to look here to the defense, and of course, is going to be the Winston Widow setup from the Legion. Wouldn't expect anything less. Backed up by a Brigitte. Meanwhile, look towards LNL, and they're going to let Sugar-Free ride on the Hanzo. Double sniper.
So the Legion just want to completely control the high ground. LNL aren't even really going to contest it at all, as, yeah, they don't have that much mobility. Enlair and Sugar-Free with a double sniper are just going to try and find a pick off here. They do spot out the Brigitte, so they know that something's abound. They have to know that it's kind of a very tankier setup coming up for them.
This is going to be really hard for Corey. If Corey's not behind shields, the fact that he has to worry about Enlair, who has had his number to begin with, and Sugar-Free, it's not an easy game right now for Corey if he can't find that early pickoff, which frankly, again, going to be difficult with the pressure that both Sugar-Free and Enlair are putting in on him right now.
And how does Blase keep his shield up as the Brigitte? It's only 600 HP, not real much heft behind it, and so Sugar-Free finds his opening. Corey has gone down, forcing out the res from Pooks.
They were trying to camp it. Decon was in a little bit late. Legion able to protect the resurrections, but Corey's so out of position right now from that, just barely able to get back away. LNL taking every bit of initiative, and power to that. Sugar-Free already has the Dragon, focusing down Panker, getting him out of the fight. Gonna drop the Sonic Arrow on the other end, and now look at how far back the Legion squad is right now. Look at how little tools they have, and now here comes the Dragon, thrown in from the top, gonna completely lock down that side as the payload continues to move forward.
And now that LNL have actually brought themselves off the high ground here, this is where it gets a little bit worrisome. Sugar-Free gets jumped on by both tanks, but it's Panker who gets punished first. Sugar-Free holds his ground in the face of that Diva, and Gods will try his best to delay the point, but it's all been LNL as they will capture point A.
I mean, they were just winning the poke war so heavily that they were also winning the ult war by consequence. And you hate to see this happen. The stagger on Gibraltar. Both supports come on down. Go to the other spawn. We take this now.
And this is going to be valuable ground built by LNL, as it's not going to allow Legion to try and create that base of operation for Corey, right, on that Widowmaker. Look, LNL's already on the high ground here, making sure no one's able to actually get in. We have the Infrasight used by Enlair. That's going to stop the Legion from trying to make their approach in from either side either, or even peeking. Now, they will try and body their way on in. Speaking of body, it's Corey that takes out Enlair, but
it's resable though. But he got Sugar-Free. That one's not going to be resable. So Corey, playing the Mission Impossible theme, gets both snipers down. Doesn't matter about getting focused by both at the same time. And the Legion, off of Corey's opening, they don't waste any time. They go in, they finish their plates, and they get to reestablish here in Gibraltar. And this is big with how defenses on second on Gibraltar tend to go.
Yeah, the Widowmaker, or the long-range hit scam kind of defense coming out here on Gibraltar. The second phase of it can be very deadly because, well, you only have 1, 2, 3, 4 entrances to try and get on into the hangar. Very easily scouted out for the teams. There's almost no coverage as you make your way on in. The tanks just have to body block everything.
The scary thing here for the Legion is how much they're banking on Corey right now. Given the fact that they're running these 3 supports, if Corey is neutralized, they're not going to win much in the way of fighting. He has an angry Decon in back, and he just got put for free. That was free. He wasn't even expecting him to be there. He was trying to get away from Corey, and he just finds Pooks on the other end. However, Legion, the rest of the fight is going their way. Decod is now neutralized way in the back, getting hunted down by Corey as we speak. And that's going to be a hold for the Legion, but that could have been real rough with the accidental mercy stomping towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Corey's got his big game hunting license, and it was quite funny, right? Generally, you know, you find yourself in a room with a Winston. It's not the Widowmaker that says you're trapped in here with me, actually, by the way, as Corey was body blocking him, and he had to use that Primal Rage to just get out.
You got to draw on your inner Rorschach sometimes here. No prison trays required, but Corey, again, 3 threats here, really. Not only the Devil Snipers, but also the Zenyatta on the other end. And if he falls to any one of them, the defensive plan is wrecked. We got Sugar-Free point blank. And that's going to be real good as the Legion now wrap around the other side.
Now, he will ultimately fall, but still, we'll see if it can be res. I don't quite know if it is. Pooks will be able to bring him back on in. Panker now with the Primal Rage, trying to focus down the Zenyatta, will be able to beat him into a corner there. And now he's on the hunt for more. It's the Mercy to go down next. The Legion just have the shuttle phase on absolute lockdown.
And this is the worry, right? When you let your foot off the gas, when a defense is able to reestablish, Hangar is one of the most momentum-based points in the entire game. And Legion, they've taken that momentum, and LNL continue to stagger.
They've even got Blase having swapped off from the Hanzo over to the Brigitte, so he's going to offer a lot more control now. LNL, they're not making any changes. They're still relying upon now Sugar-Free. He's been trying to build up this blade with his Genji. He's at 95%. That might be what breaks it open, but take a look. Panker is just on him.
Yeah, Panker's going, no, I actually don't want you to cut my team the ribbons, but Sugar-Free's getting so much support. Panker almost falls, barely able to get out of the line of fire. And Sugar-Free, he smells blood in the water right now. Blade at the ready, getting healed up by Ajax. Back up to 200. Under fire, does not care, dives on in, and ends up falling. Corey with the headshot before a blade can come out, and that makes things considerably less spicy for LNL.
Corey really coming alive when his team needs him to here on Gibraltar as they are looking to tie up the series to 2. Dogman committed the Transcendence into that last fight, and so it gives them a little bit of room as Legion do finally back off just a bit. But now it's Decod into the back. Will he get punished? No, it's Corey who gets way too brazen.
And there's a drip blade on the other end. There is no relief for the Legion. There is no res in play. Sugar-Free in a corner with the blade, his favorite place to be. Decod had his support there, but Panker is still around and in the fray. The Legion are wounded, but they're not quite routed here just yet, as Panker uses the Primal Rage to buy time, even gets Dogman, flips back away, and I think it might be enough for the Legion to reset.
Oh boy, Dogman and Ajax so far away from their support ultimates here, as LNL, all they can rely upon once again is going to be next with the self-destruct. Somehow, every time they come to these clutch situations, it's just next with the self-destruct. Legion, though, don't have much on their plate either.
They need Emler to get Corey here, but Corey is so well protected. In the back, he knows people are hunting for him. Winston gonna be on the way. Decod moves on in, but he's so overextended that he ends up falling. They don't have the Winston there anymore. The counter fire is there. Sugar-Free immediately taken down, and the self-destruct from next. A whim, a prayer, and those prayers not answered. No one falling to the self-destruct as Corey loops his way around, looking for Enlair. A little bit of salty revenge on the other side. Oh! Enlair with 1 HP, but it's not gonna matter. It's too much of an edge for the Legion, and the Legion about to hold the leftovers here in the hangar.
LNL able to count their lucky stars to be able to push the payload even further there, because it looked like the Legion were just on pace, completely shut them down, let them get nothing going on the offense. That's where they were doing for about 2.5, 3 minutes there on the shuttle phase. LNL now are gonna be on the defense, and you know, it's gonna be difficult for them to try and recreate this kind of defense. Shuttle phase, like you had mentioned, very momentum-based. Right now, Corey, he's just absolutely feeling this Widowmaker and has been able to create so many openings and opportunities for his team.
Well, the testament to that is sort of, as mentioned, is that he was the linchpin there. If Corey were to have fallen, he was essentially the damage that the Legion needed. So anytime Corey was gone when they were running that triple support setup, it was a big opportunity for LNL. The problem was for LNL is that they were very rarely able to get Corey down, even as Corey was dealing the disadvantage of having to deal with double sniper for as long as he did. And that got even worse, right? Where you have to deal with the Genji and the other Widow, where that's a harsh obstacle course for any Widow to deal with. And Corey was able to draw people back, shake pressure, and his ability to stay alive was almost a bigger testament to what he was doing there than any pickoffs that he ended up getting.
It looked like also with the change in compositions coming out from LNL and the way Legion were actually running their defense also with Blase on the the Brigitte. Panker was able to succeed a lot more. LNL, they were trying to run, of course, double threats in the sniper along with a Genji, and so they didn't have that same kind of control. It allowed Panker to open up a lot more so far with this Winston not getting punished as much. Getting punished at times, but not as much as we have seen throughout the rest of the series.
All right, well, the Legion now with a golden opportunity to send this one to a map number 5, not suffer a series loss. LNL, of course, looking to shake things up for what would be the first upset of the day with 2 more matches left to go. The Legion on their offense, though. Again started here, very divey with Corey as a Widow in the back.
Cheeky little play coming out from Pooks there at the beginning. He swaps off to the Zarya to give one of the tanks a barrier as they jump on into the high ground. Then he swaps back over to the Mercy here. But it is LNL. They are going to be running, of course, the Brigitte on the defense here. And again, it's about trying to control the tanks. It's about trying to control the high ground and make sure that no one can try and oust them from there. But they don't have a long-range threat. Corey is able to just freely fire upon them.
Corey, the realm is his right now, and Sugar Free almost falling immediately. Blase's grenades highly on target, and there almost falls. LNL, they suffer so much poke that they have to back out. The Legion in full forward right now. But LNL, they're able to back out, get a bit of healing. They go back the other way, but look towards Blase. His grenades have been doing so much in the back that not only is Dogman down, but they're about to have a Riptire, which works to this storyline of momentum that you want here in this map. And Blase, he doesn't have to think about it. He's gonna let the rubber hit the road, and it's gonna run Ajax right on over to the other side.
Neither team so far able to mount much of a defense here on point A. And so now the Legion will be moving on to point B with 5 minutes and 6 seconds. They're gonna get the staggered kill onto Sugar Free too. This is huge. These are huge staggers coming out. Corey with the second kill.
Ajax pummeled on the other end. They couldn't get away. That spawn point, one of the deadliest in the game when you are on the losing end, and the Legion about ready to put the foot on the throat of LNL.
Take a look at the forward positioning coming out from them. The Legion understand that they need to stall out the defense. They need to make sure that they need to pay for just every footstep they make into the hanger phase here. Now they will push forward, but that's almost the entirety of the defense matrix used by Nex. Doesn't have to charge that up as the Valkyrie comes out, but Panker takes out Ajax.
Ajax immediately removed. There won't be a res this time. Rolf was taken by Sugar Free. Here comes the blade. Sugar Free's been the savior so many times this series, looking for anything right now, but he's bamboozled. Has to use most of it on a diva towards the end. It's not as good as he'd want. Rolf is back in the fight. The Legion, though, they're wounded, but not out. Rolf gets his revenge on the other side. Both teams trading back and forth. Rolf got the Transcendence off the res. The Legion not backing out here just yet. They're down a diva, but look at Gods. He built it up so quickly. And there's a tire on the other side. Drops on down. Ajax is getting abused right now as the Legion continue to move forward.
They try to hold on with the Transcendence, but the Legion just go ahead and back away and kite that out. Self-destruct is used to try and buy time now, but Enlair is getting focused down on that Brigitte. He was dropped down to about 50 HP. The Resurrection is used now as Panker comes back on in. They're just charging forward, but Sugar Free is bringing it back.
He's still full HP. He's invisible once more. Going for Zen now. Takes him down. A nice quick dash. Dashing back and forth. 3 dashes in 2 seconds for Sugar Free. And he pulls LNL back from the brink, but there's still 3 minutes to go. Oh
Panker.
No, he's trying to get this alone. Panker, I know you're a carry, but this is a bit much if you could push people away and actually get that. He actually got away with his life.
There was an opportunity. He might have just been able to take out both the Zen along with Sugar Free on the Genji. But still, LNL are not out of the fire yet. The Legion were just mere meters away, 2 meters away, 1.5 meters away from finishing off this map and sending it to a map number 5. LNL in a hold of a lifetime here. They're going to do it off the back of possibly Sugar Free's Blade.
Yeah, I mean, his Blade is a good thing to bet on. Dragon Strike out early, answered by the Transcendence. Where is Sugar Free? This is the time for the Blade. He's waiting, wait no longer, moves on in, but the Transcendence is there. Rolf immediately responds. It's not a good day for Sugar Free. He has to back out. The Blade has been neutralized. The Legion still standing. 2 minutes and 25 seconds left. Moving on forward, and the Legion taking a little bit slow here.
They don't need to commit into this, right? They don't really have anything to try and win quite yet. Corey is getting closer towards that Dragon Strike now, and this is where they can really turn the screws on to them. Dragon Strike comes on now, and now they jump on in.
Dogman around the corner, couldn't get away. Sneaky res coming in, but still getting punished. Corey dives on to the other side. Decod, though, picks him off. Primal Rages. Disruption on the payload for LNL. Sugar Free, meanwhile, up to 70% here once more. Rolf has another Transcendence, built it up quicker than Sugar Free's Blade. But that could be a blessing and a curse at the same time. Even as Ajax falls, Sugar Free working to get another Blade up. His team dying all around him, and so does he. Panker finishes the kill. The Legion, they're reformed, they're moving back in. The yellow box victory so close. LNL struggling to stay on it, but you're gonna see Decod fall, and we're headed to map 5.
Just wow. I feel like the Z-Quo wore off. Gladiators Legion woke up. Like that was an intense fight. That was impressive.
Despite it going over towards Legion there, though, I mean, it was just off the back of Corey coming up with huge clutch plays. I still see mistakes coming out from the Legion, and so I think moving into map number 5, it's still anyone's game here. Legion haven't stepped it up to the point where I am comfortable saying that they are going to defeat LNL in this map number 5. It can go either way.
I will say, though, Panker and Corey have both been gaining in power as the series has gone on. Corey was not getting wrecked by Enlair anywhere near the way that he was in the previous series, and Panker has been adapting. He's been learning. He's basically the Borg right now, and how he's going about it, because he's adjusted to the focus fire. He's disengaging from these fights a lot earlier, and as a result, he's finding opportunities to come back in and get the pickoffs that Panker is so well known for, as well as just bouncing people around.
Well, he did also get a little cocky there and tried to camp the point himself before realizing he needed to back off just a little bit.
Hey, if he had knocked 3 people around and pushed that in himself for a forced C9 moment, my hat would have been off. That would have been one of the greatest Winston moments of all time.
Very true, very true.
And honestly, like, because they had to contest the point, they had to run into, you know, the beefy palms of Winston. So you saw Genji along with Dogman dropping really low. There was an opportunity. He might have actually taken it.
Yeah, and I feel like, just like you said, it seems that Legion is adapting more. They have started to figure out who they need to target. As we saw, Ajax kept getting bullied, and they were left without a mercy. They really forced LNL to just fight it out without their support, and I think that was a very smart move.
Yeah, and I mean, seeing both these teams adapt to each other so far has been very entertaining. Seeing LNL bring this level of play has been great, but now we're going to be looking towards that map 5.
Yeah, it's getting closer to like what we're expecting of the potential of LNL also, where they're not consistently just relying upon Sugar Free to be able to really carry them through these. Enlair has really had some great moments so far. Dogman has also been able to carry his team back in from the brink, and then also Decod, who has pleasantly been surprising us this entire series.
Well, our next map is going to be the tiebreaker. It's going to be Ilios. What can we expect to see? Now, like you said, it's anyone's game. Nobody is really dominating here.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen both teams have their highs, both teams have their lows, and now you go to Control where, frankly, anything could happen. However, you take a look at map number 1 there. Obviously, Legion took the first Control map. They were able to bring that back in their favor. We've seen a lot of ups and downs since then, but if you go off that, you know, maybe Legion does a little bit better as we head in the Ilios.
Yeah, do you think?
It was a little bit back and forth between them, especially when we were on Lijiang, but ultimately it was the Gladiators Legion who did have a game plan coming into this, and I feel like for Ilios, they have a similar game plan, so I think it is going to go over to the Legion.
All right, well, we are 2-2. This is both teams' last chance to show us what they got.
The windmill is turning as we head to Lighthouse, where really that's a double purpose. It's sort of a lighthouse that also provides power. It provides its own power.
Would you say it's a powerhouse?
No.
Okay.
I think that's going too far. I believe that we say powerhouse, I think of All Might. I don't think of windmills. That's just me.
The mitochondria, you mean. So now the Legion, they are going to go with the Soldier 76 setup, and they're going to speed boost their way on through with Pooks too. So Corey will have the positioning here, but again, they have to be careful. He might try to go for this flank, but that might just put him into a vulnerable spot in the face of this Roadhog. But no, they just jump right on top of him. It's Ajax who gets punished first.
Ajax has been the Achilles heel that's been getting just pummeled on by the Legion the last map and a half right now, where they see Ajax, they go, and they go again, repeatedly, over and over, as the Legion simply overpower here early on and get first take.
And it's the tempo, right? They just are able to get the flank, get that off angle with Corey, who just dished out so much damage. He does drop a little bit low, got down to 2 HP, but he will stay alive for now as LNL make their way back onto the point. Enlair, Corey has been brought down.
And that was what Enlair's been doing all series long. Does it here once more. Gives LNL the moment up that they needed. Wolf's laying in support from the back. He's going to transcend, but this is more of a, I want to delay. Not so much we think we can easily win this, but there's a possibility. The tanks are well back the other way. Sugar Free pummeling his way on through. Arrows ablazing. Next, make some room, but all the while, Legion have successfully bought time. This has been good for them.
Yeah, they're only about 60% on the way towards capturing the point and actually step off, so all that progress is gone. The rally is going to go ahead and be used now by the Legion, but still through it, LNL are able to punish them. 3 kills going on over. Dogman, the recipient of 2 of those now, and slowly but surely, the Legion will lose the point. LNL take it over after giving away 55%.
Good opening here from the Legion. LNL now need to make the most of this Dragon Strike. If they Dragon Strike Valk and it still goes away the Legion, if Ajax is picked out of the sky by the Tac Visor, this round is as good as the Legion's.
Ajax does have to be careful. He's been the focus target of a lot of these just offensive pushes coming out from the Legion. And now they're taking the right-hand side. They're making their way on in. Rolf! Oh, he's the one to take out Enlair.
Rolf's been quiet most of the series, but that is a way to just simply burst on out. Sugar Free, a dragon from the coastal side, gets Rolf on the revenge element of it. But the Legion, they invest even more. They come out the barrier. They're getting everything they need from this fight and more. Corey on cleanup duty, and Ajax can merely run away as the Legion retake the point.
LNL only able to secure 40% here. Now we'll see as we come into this next fight. A lot was invested from both sides here, so it's going to be just sheer mechanical play coming up from both sides. But Enlair has to fall back as he's getting focused down. Panker might have gone too far, though.
Yeah, they return on Panker and they take him down. Sugar Free doesn't let Panker get away. Now, Panker got far enough back that he at least gives his team a chance to reset, and maybe punish people that dove in super heavily. Ajax down early, but the fact that they punish Panker works pretty well for LNL. They've made this a winnable fight. Roll for the back, though, can't finish off the baby diva as Enlair goes the other side. And that's gonna be LNL retaking the point.
He just needed one more sandal to connect there. Put off to Old Navy, you know, get the BOGO on the $2 sandals.
That disintegrate after 3 uses.
No, after a while, you just need to, you know, not use it as just like a melee weapon. Use your sandals as a projectile. Throw them.
Use it as a chemical weapon. I mean, the smell alone is enough to send lesser beings running for their lives. But see Enlair here on this sneaky little ledge on the top, looking for the pickoff. Had a chance, can't get the right angle on Corey. Corey eats one, runs back the other way. Meanwhile, while Enlair's doing this, Corey's able to help support on the bottom end, but Sugar Free able to get Pooks, who wasn't able to get away in time. LNL now rolling it right back. That's going to be 80, or now 90% to 82, and I don't know if the Legion can get back here in time.
They're going to try. They have to, right? They use that rally to keep, of course, the Squishier members alive right now. Rolf's got the shield, or excuse me, the armor. Corey's got the armor. They need to buy time for Corey. He's almost got that tactical visor. He's at 95%, just a little bit more damage. They are all on the point.
And the tech visor Cal Valkyrie, but they're down Rolf immediately. Rolf was trying to peek Enlair, and this time Enlair got the better of it. Early tac visor coming up, the self-destruct ruining most of Corey's time, and now the Legion fighting upstream. LNL looking awfully comfortable here, and it's about to get worse before it gets better for the Legion. You take a look, Sugar Free's about to get that dragon. Can't get away there, and the dragon comes in. Gonna really solidify things for LNL as the Legion on their last life here. LNL has fought this one back.
Again, it's just like how we had started off on Lijiang. It was Gladiators, I believe, that took the point first, but then LNL scrapped it back. Now the Legion have to once again run it back 2 maps in a row.
Credit where credit's due. Ajax really reined that in there, where Ajax was getting focused pretty hard in Gibraltar, pretty hard here. He started going way back when he realized that, hey, that's happening again. Maybe I should head on back. So both teams really changing who they're prioritizing and how the people that are getting prioritized are adapting to that level of pressure.
Well, Ajax, yeah, he's learned to rein it back, but if we talk about Legion on the opposite end, it's Pinker and Corey that are still getting a bit too aggressive right now. Corey on the Soldier 76 continually going for these flank plays that put him in very awkward situations. Then we have other people trying to come in and try and save him, like Pinker. And he himself tends to overextend now. So we go over this next point. We have Blase going over to the Pharah. It's going to be Sugar Free versus Blase in the air. While we have Corey on the Widowmaker, Nenlayer on the Tracer.
All right, Sugar Free. They're trying to go into Pharah once more, where of course last time was Ike involved and he was basically invisible. But for now, looking for those wild shots onto Blase, far in the distance, where it's about 50% luck, 50% skill when you're shooting that far away. But early pickoff almost happens. LNL pressuring Legion a little bit more effectively, getting them away from the apex of the point. You see them moving forward, but Ajax is picked off. Corey with the double strike early on, and that immediately flips the narrative. LNL's pressure is no more, and the Legion should be able to rock onto the point, but they're taking their time. It's still technically LNL with the half. Now, if God's getting demeched, LNL, could they fight this one back? It's gonna be close.
Corey almost taking out Sugar Free, who survives with a sliver of HP, but they are able to clean this up. And, you know, if we want to talk about narratives, it's actually remaining true here, especially as we move through the control map, where first it's LNL that takes the first map, and then it's Corey as we move on to the second point to really open it up for the Legion, and then create the opportunities for them now. They will capture the point. Corey, he's got that infrasight ready to use to try and slow down LNL and make sure he knows where Sugar Free is at all times.
All right, LNL working back over Corey. Infrasight, as mentioned, back the other way, but pressured in. Fair on the top, a Winston on the bottom. Corey just barely able to shake the pressure here. Still, public enemy #1 working his way to the other side. Meanwhile, though, the Legion are counter-diving, trying to punish LNL's backline. It's back and forth from both sides. But now we go to Blase. Pharah, barrage loaded, looking for people on the other end. Ajax gets picked. Corey, finally under so much pressure, gets the ultimate prize in the Mercy. 2 HP and down, but he bought Decon so far off the point that Blase able to get 3. Could this still get flipped the other way as a player picks off Rolf? It's so back and forth.
Gods is still alive, and he's got the light pistol there, takes out 2. He isn't able to demech this time as Decon will finally clean him up, but that was such a protracted fight. The Legion are okay with letting that go out as long as it did, especially with Corey's, you know, just drawing everyone's attention that entire time. Nothing was happening other than Corey getting chased down. He wasn't even falling. So now the Legion can really just regroup here and try and create once again an opening for Corey on this Widowmaker. But it's Rolf that starts it off. Sugar Free has fallen.
Rolf has been getting these pickoffs way more as the series has gone on, learning the tendencies of his opponents, forcing out the res early on. Enlair, though, early pulse bomb stick, was looking for the D-Mech, didn't quite get it. God's barely gonna survive, but now, off the other end, the pressure does get him out of it. Corey falls the other way, and LNL, they've set the table. Now all they need to do is dig on in. And the Legion, they left the table. It's like Thanksgiving fights all over again.
Legion. No, they can wake up from their numb naps.
Oh no!
That is a huge blunder coming out from Enlayer. He thought he had the proper recall along with the blink, but the ledge, you cannot stand on that one. Enlayer will fall, so Legion have an opportunity to try and get on here with the power play, with the man advantage.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about Enlayer. This is where you go on in. You take advantage of the fact that you're not going to have a Tracer in your backline. But because of the nature of this Pharah composition, they're waiting for early poke before they commit, and that waiting is gonna enable Dogman to transcend. Enlayer back in the fight. Corey probably didn't even realize he was back on in. Now note, Enlayer had the rewind out, but it doesn't matter. It's a better transcend engage for LNL. They fight their way back, and they're 1 round away from stealing this from the Legion.
L&L about to take the 3-2 victory now as they are slowly staggering the members. Panker almost caught out. Enlair, if he had connected with that pulse bomb, that would have been huge for him. But he's still keeping the Winston busy, and he has to use the Primal Rage early. Yeah. He jumps onto the point before we're even in overtime.
He's just doing it to delay, but we're in overtime now. Panker might be in over his head. Just barely staying alive. Gonna get healed back up. They didn't finish off Panker. That could come back to haunt them. Sugar Free looking to finish. Barrage loaded. God's out of the fight. Taken down. Press Q to respawn as Gladiators Legion. 4 men left and a dream. A Barrage on the outskirts gets Dogman, and it might not be over yet as the Legion have fought their way back in. Panker somehow stayed alive.
They don't have any healing though, so they have to back away. And now overtime still ticking away as Decon was able to take out Pooks, but now as next falls, Legion will keep this alive, their hopes in the series alive.
If you have a chance to eliminate Panker, you take it. They didn't, and it burned them. Now in the next fight, Rolf can open up the Transcendence.
Laze just goes back to get Pooks back onto him. They are tethered together as Corey opens it up. Dogman has fallen. That's a huge pickoff for the Legion as they're trying their best to send this over to 100%.
Yeah, and he could have had Transcendence in the middle of the fight. Now the Legion, they get to hold back. Now, okay, they use their res on Dogman. They can still get it. They're going to open with the Valkyrie here. Rolf doesn't waste any time. Transcends himself. No pickoffs from it. Sugar Free, though unable to shake the pressure. Rolf falls right after. Sugar Free gone. No res available. 5 on 5. The MVP is gone, but look at Dogman coming on in. Their Panker's out of the fight. A Transcend can secure it. L&L with a huge advantage, and this very well could be a victory Transcendence. 1 to 2 pickoffs lead to so many more. L&L about to retake the point here. Blase is gone. It's last minute stall, but it doesn't matter. Overtime ticking down. Corey's out of it. And Panker, you did it once, but I don't think you can do it again.
And somehow L&L, against all odds, are able to defeat the Legion 3-2.
Wow. Guys, also history has been made today because this is the first time that an open division team has beaten an academy team.
Yeah, I mean, L&L was able to bring their way back in, and the Legion really, it's interesting because they were, of course, the huge favorites coming on in here, but in the end, Sugar Free had a masterful performance. They had a good game plan in isolating Panker, and the Legion, as much as they struggled, it wasn't enough.
Yeah, and they didn't have to just go to the fallback of but Sugar Free. They were able to go to the fallback now of but Enlair, who was really coming alive throughout the entirety of the series. All 5 maps. He had such an amazing presence for his team. It was a huge contributing factor to their win today.
This was, I feel like we can sum this up, but L&L. It's not just but Sugar Free, it's not just but Enlair. They all worked together, and they pulled off an amazing win. I'm very proud of them.
I mean, there really isn't much else to say right now. Enlair, you know, whether he was on the Tracer or whether he was on the Widowmaker, was coming up with huge clutch plays, and so that freed up Sugar Free from a lot of the pressure that's generally on him. Now, ultimately, there was a little bit of blunder there where he went for the recall at the end of that, but beyond that, you know, he really came alive. I mean, Volskaya, he was able to, I believe it was, get the pick off onto Corey on the Widowmaker on point A with the Tracer, and then continually be a threat in the back line. Whether it was Enlair or Sugar Free, one or the other was going kind of just invisible to the Legion.
Yeah, and I mean, for Enlair, what a journey it's been for him, where Enlair really last season was sort of the, I guess we'll throw him as Widow every now and then, and basically barely even played. But he went from that to such a huge contributing member for L&L, and this felt like his breakout series where he sort of made his name known. He was able to check one of the up-and-coming stars in Corey, where even if you could say Corey was having a bit of an off night, the reality is that Corey was playing hard mode, trying to find ways around Sugar Free and Enlair at the same time, and frequently failing to do so. But a lot of that is because Enlair was playing out of his mind.
Yeah. And this is only week 3. We can see Enlair and Sugar Free continue to grow and continue to fight, and who knows, maybe even some more stars from L&L will start to show their colors.
Be good to see.
I mean, now, because I believe they did drop track and he went over to EU, yeah, it is just going to be this starting 2 DPS. They have no other choice but to rely upon Enlair and Sugar Free. But now, with the kind of performance that they put on today, you know, you can rest assured, it looks like.
Yeah, and do you think that Legion did take this loss, but is there anything that they might need to work on to try and fight back next time we see them play?
I mean, the big thing is just have a plan when Panker's getting punched in the mouth repeatedly, where it was a very tough opening for Panker, and I think it took them a long time to adapt, and I don't think it was on Panker, it was because of LNL just isolating him down effectively. But what this also does is this makes the playoff situation for this group, it completely blows it wide open. You no longer have an anointed top 4. Now anyone could be vulnerable.
Right, absolutely. Well, we saw our first upset, technically, of the day, and we still have so much more fun Overwatch coming up next, so you'll want to stick around.